Three, two, one. Okay. So just want to double check, make sure we're live first, because
Sounds
that's
good.
me. Okay, we are live. So good evening, everybody. I'm Dustin Coiner from TrackDaz. We're talking motorbikes tonight. Ask the private. Ask actually not. He is a privateer, but ask the club
Kinda.
racer with Tyler Bengford. I've known Ty for a few years now. I've got to watch him come up from amateur ranks. You know, he was riding some kind of 600 or whatever in new racer school. He did new racer school with us actually,
Sure
um,
did.
and now I think he's racing some Suzuki 1000 now. And uh,
That is correct. Yes.
yeah, so welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah,
I mean,
I started with you guys on a Gixxer 600 with no horsepower, and now I'm on a Gixxer 1000 with no horsepower. So
that's I mean the Suzuki's. I don't know, man. Like I had a few myself
hmm
years ago, and um, I had the 750, the one. It was the one right after the egg shaped tail one.
Yep. Yep.
2000.
Yep.
And the thing made pretty good power, but it was dude. You look at that bike now, and it's like the gas tank's the size of a coffee table,
Yeah,
right?
it's massive.
Yeah, and then I had a '04 600 Suzuki back then, and man, it didn't matter what we did to that thing. Like I had a dude that was like one of the I think he was Aaron Yates's mechanic at
hmm
Yosh back then, and he built the engine for me, and the thing was still slow. I mean, like the R6s came out with the 600 class, and just for what 15 years basically, the
Yeah, just
R6 just
dominated.
murdered everybody in that class, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
I
um,
definitely took my turn on the R6, so I did that as well. Got off the Suzuki and went to an R6. So this is,
so I'm kind of trying to think of who was in your class. Was it Cole Fugatti and those guys? Is that who you were
no, that was
racing?
the one before us. So
Okay.
they were the year before us, and I think Jack Backen was the year before. Maybe with Cole, but we had like Rich Finley.
Okay.
Um, it's funny, like I feel like we had a kind of a off class where not a lot of people stayed racing, but
Yeah.
like maybe two or three of us are still going. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll be straight up with you, Ty. That's something I've been combating for like 20 years or plus, right?
Yep. Yep.
The rate of attrition. You've already punched through the numbers, bro. Like you're a lifer now. Just a heads up.
Yeah. I'm stuck.
You
Stuck
know,
with it forever.
like we're a bunch of club racer dummies. We cry poor all the time, but somehow we managed to put a bike on the grid, right?
I know it. Yeah, it's a struggle sometimes, and you just get through it and do it, and you have fun, and you're happy in the end, anyways. You know,
Yeah.
there's weekends that suck, but it's way better than working. So,
And just a heads up, Finley's commenting already, so
oh,
I'm
great.
sure we're gonna
Hopefully,
have
it's
some colorful
appropriate.
commentary from him. Um, yeah, so you're doing the club thing, and like you went from like how did you go from the 600 to 1,000? I mean, you started with the R1, you had a couple cowies, and now you got that Suzuki thing. Like,
hmm
how did you transition? Were you still amateur when you switched to the R1, or I forget?
No, so I raced the Gixxer all the way through my first amateur season, and then
Okay,
the last round, my buddy Slavin let me borrow his R6 to
okay.
race, and so I ended up getting a podium in every single race that round, just on the R6. And
Were
so
you like, God damn it?
I know I was like, should have been doing this the whole freaking time, dude.
Was it
Fucking
because
dumb
nobody
bike.
showed up that weekend?
No, it was a good battle weekend, and actually it was me, Key, um, Khan was there,
Oh, that's
and
right. You raced with Kirati, huh?
yeah, dude, and she
You got
kicked
your
my
ass
ass.
kicked by a
Yeah,
chick the
I
whole
did.
year.
I did, dude. And Kate even sometimes she came out and whooped my
Oh
ass.
man.
To be fair, they raced an entire season before me, so that's my excuse. But they were fast, so there was
I
no
don't know
excuses
if I
there.
would say they raced an entire season before you, but I will say they put a lot of effort in. You know what I mean? And they were
Yeah,
legit fast. I mean,
they were fast. Yeah.
Kirati was fucking fast on that thing, man. It was
hmm
like, when she was on, dude.
Oh
I
yeah.
think she did. I think she won all the championships that year,
She
right?
got first
Or
in
two of
one,
them.
second in the other, and
Yeah.
then I got third in both.
Yeah,
So Mikey Malloy, who's another good friend of mine, we raced. He was fast too, and same thing. Like both of us started the season, we were like battling for 18th at the first races. So
dude.
um,
You're lucky, dude. I mean, a lot of riders don't realize this, how lucky we all really are now. I
hmm
mean, the amount of racing that you can do on a weekend as an amateur is it's just bananas.
yeah,
When I started, me, the OG Track Days crew, right? Like when we started, me, Gil, Jimmy, right? When we started back in the day, dude, it was race weekend at WSMC for novices.
yep,
Pretty much you practiced on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning you did couple of sessions of warm up, and then you basically waited till the end of the day for your 1 6 lap race,
yeah.
right?
Oh, that
And
sucks.
now amateurs are racing like 4, 5, 6. I mean, I remember guys racing. There was that one dude from Colorado that came out and raced. He was like the weed guy. I can't remember what his
Yeah.
name was. He was, he was like, right? Hey, look, this is
uh,
real, man. Like,
yeah.
whatever.
No.
The
Hey,
dude was into weed, man. He
he
was like a
was.
weed. He was Dr. Green Thumb,
That's so
apparently.
funny.
But that dude was racing like 8 races a weekend. He had like a full Graves bike, like
Yep.
he had like a. This is obviously 10 years ago, basically, right? But like
Right.
this guy had like a $30,000 R6 with spares, and dude, a stack of tires like 7 foot high at the end of the
Holy
weekend,
shit.
right?
Lucky
Dude, every
bastard.
session he had new tires on. It was
Yeah.
awesome, right? So yeah, the weed guy. Like I don't remember his name, but the weed guy, right?
Yeah, no, that's lucky, dude. Sometimes when you go through a race weekend and you're able to race 6 races a day,
Yeah,
like that's where the improvements come from, and then you're able to put tires on that many times, like you're gonna be unstoppable. So
right, right.
I
Yeah,
wish
so
I
you
could do that.
switched to the one. Like, how was that for you? Like, I have my opinion on it because I did the same thing
Yep.
in 2015. But you know, would you after racing a 600 for a little bit for a season, basically, right?
hmm
You just went right into the R1.
Yeah, so
Did you buy like a used R1 or something?
I did. I bought Alex Fuller's bike.
Oh shit, you bought
Yeah.
that thing?
Yeah.
No wonder you
N-
got away from Yamaha.
that's why I hated it
I
so
blame
much.
Alex. I blame
Yeah, I just blame
Alex
that guy.
sold you his clapped out hunk of
Dude,
turd, didn't he?
if had I known, I bought dude, I am an idiot. I bought that bike in the dark, it was horrible.
I I wouldn't exactly say that's accurate because I do believe I remember warning you.
Nah, I don't
Yes, I
think I got a
did.
warning
I
until after
tried
I
to
bought it.
sell you my bike, and that bike was way cheaper. And you were
Yeah,
like,
it
"I'm
was like
buying this
half
one."
price, dude.
Yeah. Well, now you know
There's a
why.
reason. There's a reason. It's so funny, dude. I got home and like the sprocket nut was missing. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like this is horrible.
Yeah, dude.
Um, but the reason I did it is like at the end of the amateur season, I guess you could say, I did one race at Big Willow,
Okay.
and that was my first expert round with Wira.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, dude, I had the worst weekend ever. I get out there, I do qualifying, or it's not qualifying, it's just practice with Wira. But
Yeah.
I did my 2 sessions, and then in the first race, my clutch went out like on the start. So it was just like revving straight to the moon. I was like, all right, whatever, got to find a
Well, if it
clutch.
came
So
from Alex, pretty
no,
sure the
no, this
clutch
was
is.
on an R6. This was
Oh,
that
it's
R6 I
R6.
borrowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So and
shitting on Alex for no reason.
I
Then is
know,
that what
yeah.
you're
Well,
saying? Okay,
that's
my
fine.
bad.
That's fine. You can do that. It's no big deal.
No, it's like we talk in person, so it's like the same
Yeah,
shit we say in person, right?
I know. He knows my feelings on it, so it's all right. um, and everyone else does too at this point. It's a couple years out from that, but
Right.
so I do this first race. I don't even get a race the first one. The second one, I get a clutch in it. Me and Anthony spent. This is our first time doing an R6 clutch, and if you've ever done one, that little knuckle you got to get in there it's a bitch. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, it's horrible.
I'm not gonna lie. I've tried that, and then I had Joseph make fun of me for like an hour plus after. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah,
suck, dude. It was miserable. By the time we finished, it was probably 1 or 2 in the morning. So at a club weekend, you're already up anyways. But
yeah. Well, I
we,
mean, the CVMA scene back then, you kind of came in at the tail end of like the Team Blue budget barbecue thing, right?
yep, yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you're like you're basically the last class that got to experience that, right?
Yeah, and it's funny because you kind of chase that feeling or that fun that
The
we had
vibe.
yeah, exactly, the vibe. I couldn't even think of the words, but you
Yeah.
chase that, and it's like it's not exactly the same, but you try to make it the same. So we're, it's just different now. And it like as you progress too, you're not focused so much on the party afterwards. But I mean, some people are. But
So
eh,
I'm gonna pause you for just a
yeah,
second,
go ahead.
and because your homies are commenting shit.
Oh, great.
So obviously, Rich Finley says that he wanted a Black Flag karate,
Oh no,
right?
there's a story with that. They
And then
God.
I'm gonna let you file that, and then I'm
Yep.
just gonna blow through these because it's
Go
pretty
for it.
funny.
Yep.
Lugnuts is saying that yeah, it was clapped out for sure.
Yep.
In the dark and cold at midnight after zebra.
Well, you know what the zebra is, I'm sure.
Did it used to be Lynx?
I don't know.
Is it
And
that
I'm not
shitty
that far
strip
back.
club in
Yep.
Indio that off the Dillon Road exit?
It was it's in Roseman, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like right
yeah.
next door to that Mexican restaurant.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I actually have never been there.
Dude, it was
I
hilarious.
don't,
It
dude.
was
Who goes
me.
to strip clubs in Rosamond? What the fuck's wrong with you?
We were in Roseman. And
Lots of
so,
things,
dude, it
clearly,
was
right?
me, Anthony, Rich, Jared Fixler, and I think one other person that might have been it. But
Yeah.
like we were the only ones there, and for good reason. And one
Oh
of
my
them had
God.
their shoes on backwards. She was like Bambi falling over there at the week. Anyway, yeah, that's.
So Visor Down says, just let Nick do it. It'll be 10 minute stops.
Oh yeah, probably the clutch, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, at Chuck Wall anyway, when CVMA was jumping, right, when it first started in a
Mm-hmm.
couple years, we would do the awards banquet at that like casino,
Oh
right?
yeah, yep.
And afterwards, a lot of guys would go to Links right there at Dillon Road exit, right?
Yep.
And I mean, I never went there either,
Yeah.
right? But the stories that people brought home, I kind of imagine those are the same quality of people that you would see at
100%.
the one in Rosamond, right?
Yeah, they
You know,
probably that's like their second job. They're traveling, traveling strippers. So.
C-section staples,
Yeah. Oh, it's
right?
so bad.
Yeah, yeah. Good times.
Uh, yeah. No,
Quality
that's.
material right
I
there.
didn't think that's what we'd be talking about, but yes, we bring up the
Hey,
past. It's fine,
hey,
dude.
man, like this is the real deal of racing, right? It's
Hey,
like,
if you guys
hey,
want a club race, go to the Zebra. You'll be the fastest thing ever.
at Willow.
At Willow Springs, yeah. If you go to Willow
Yeah,
Springs Zebra, there's a Mexican restaurant right next to it, so you can go to the strip club, go to a Mexican restaurant,
wow,
and you'll be set. You don't need
yeah,
anything else.
yeah. Ty, you probably have the full rundown of the quality depending on the stripper, right?
Mm,
You
yeah.
wrote a full Yelp
One of
review on
them's
each
name
one.
was Almond Milk. Now that I think about it, it's like almond milk, and yeah, it was horrible. I don't know why my fiance is watching this, so
People are
sorry, Rainey.
asking. People are asking you to bring some of those to Utah.
Oh God, no, you
I
don't want
mean,
them.
dude, like, you've raced all over, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what's you've raced obviously CVMA. That was where you
Hmm.
started.
Yep.
You did a little bit of Wira,
I
right?
did Weira. Yep.
At
Then
Willow, where else?
Vegas, we did Button Willow. I think that's all. With Weira, I just basically West Coast stuff.
Yeah.
But
Did you
I
go to
like race.
MRA?
I did. We did a 4 hour race in MRA,
Hell
and
yeah, dude.
dude, that's my favorite race of the year. 100%. Like
Man,
endurance racing is the best.
we should do that. We should do that, right?
Yeah, I'm
Do a
down.
4 hour.
So,
This is years ago. Like I did a couple of the 4 hours when my
mhm,
dad was still racing, and the last one was 2011.
yep,
And so I go out there. My dad's got the first stent since it's his motorcycle,
yep.
and he gets like, I guess he had gotten heat exhaustion the day before in practice.
Oh,
Like,
great.
Dad, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? So he's like, Linda Blair, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah. For
Uh,
youngsters can Google that reference. But yeah, so he was sick, so I ended up doing 3 of the 4 hours solo.
yep.
Ran the thing out of gas, everything. Like
Oh,
couldn't
dude.
see the fucking pit board. I'm tucked in. I couldn't see the pit board because the pit board was white too, man.
Yeah,
So,
I have something to say about the 4 hour and having four people on a team. We had four, and then Rich got kidney stones and then backed out of it. While we were there, he showed up to the track. He was out in Colorado, and we needed a fourth, and he's like, "Oh, I have kidney stones. I
oh
can't
my
race."
God.
So it was me, Jack, and Lugnut, and we got second. So
Right on.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, the High Plains Raceway, right? Right?
Yeah, dude, that's my
Dude,
favorite track. It's so
me
good.
too, man. Honestly, it's right now. It's like High Plains and Thunder Hill. I
Yeah,
mean, dude, Thunder Hill is my jam because
really. You'd
it's
put
so
Thunderhill
fast.
up there with that?
Yeah, I would because it's just, I guess it's just nicer. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, and going to High Plains Raceway is kind of like going to Chuckwalla, right? It's a fuck ways out in the middle
It
of
is.
nowhere.
It's like an hour east of Denver, and my family lives in Colorado, so
Okay.
yeah. It's luckily we just drove from San Diego to Vegas, where most of our team is, and then Vegas to Denver, where my parents live, and then we stayed another night, and then we drove out to the track, and so we only have to drive an hour to go to my parents if we want to go home, but we had a toy
Yeah.
hauler at the time, so it was a legit setup, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So apparently Barry from Moto United is saying that he'll take you to the Bear's Den in Magna uh, if you want quote dime piece strippers when you're back in Utah.
Oh, great.
The
Yeah.
Bear's Den.
Rainey, if you the Bears Den, if you hear
I
this,
mean, that sounds like is it gay? Like, I
it
mean,
might be a strip club for men,
right? Like,
for other men.
right. Oh my God, that's
Uh,
hilarious. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it was gonna morph into that, dude. But
it's okay.
whatever.
No, it's fine. I mean, yeah, that's what it turns. I mean, this is club racing, dude. You go
Yeah.
to the
Well,
track and then you end up at a strip club. Sometimes it happens.
okay, so there's a couple more coming in.
Uh huh.
Obviously, Matt Muldoon is stoked on High Plains Raceway, as is
Hell yeah.
the multi bad bass guy. You've heard him
Hell yeah.
comment before as well. Lugnut says, "Be careful, it's a gay club. Ty will like it." And
Well, he would
then,
join me, so it's fine.
Matt Cavarles says, "Bachelor party at Bearsden."
Oh, dude, I have a bachelor's party going.
Whoa,
It's gonna be
dude!
pretty dope. We're gonna do rent the mini track out. So,
Oh my God!
and while we're talking about friends, I have to wish my friend Sean a happy birthday. So, Sean, if you're watching, happy
Sean,
birthday. Yep,
happy
it's his
birthday,
it's his
Sean.
birthday. He said he'll never talk to me again if I don't wish him a happy birthday on this thing. So,
Are you serious?
yep, that's what he
Wow,
said.
that's the kind of
It's
friends you have, huh?
I know, dude.
All
He's a
right.
teammate, and he's gonna lay this shit on me.
Wow, dude. Which Sean is this?
That's Sean from our team. He races the Aprilia. Well, he races an R6. Um, you might not have met him before. I'm not sure though.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Sean
used to.
Rothmeyer.
Maybe.
He's
I
I'm
I have
not
like
gonna give
bad short
his
term, dude.
it's funny you say short term. He's a shorter guy. I wasn't gonna say that on the live stream. I
Oh,
love you, Sean. Sorry.
wow.
These are
Wow.
my friends. So yeah.
Yeah,
See,
it's cool, I mean, that's what club racing's all about, right? Like you
exactly.
come, you basically stab your buddies in the neck all day, and then talk shit about it at night. Like
That's right.
yeah,
And
that's
it's
the
nighttime, so it happens to be stabby in the neck time.
clearly. If you're getting stabbed anywhere else, I don't know. That's another thing. But the club racing thing, it's just you know, it it's so cool. Like what do you do for a living?
So I'm an air traffic
Club racers, we all
controller.
have we all have day jobs. So what do you do?
Yeah, I'm an air traffic controller in Carlsbad. So I've done it my whole adult life. So since I was 18 to now, that's almost 12 years worth. So it's
I can't
I
believe you're
love
only
it, dude.
30. I
I
thought you were
know.
older than that, dude.
It's the hairline,
I thought you were gonna like race Formula 40 with me.
dude. If they let me in by my hairline, I would do it,
Nah.
and you'd probably beat me. That's the sad part.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I've only lost to you one time, so
You only
I
raced with me
promised.
one time. Like,
No, we
You
raced
raced
in multiple
twice.
races that weekend.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
anyway,
happens. Happens.
go ahead and play that video. I wasn't gonna give up the spot without a fight.
Yeah, I mean, there for what Ty's talking about is I I I used a little bit of racecraft because I'm old and broken, so I have to use racecraft. And I used something, and I don't know what he was thinking, but I passed him on the outside on the way up the hill to the corkscrew, and then he tried to pass me on the brakes, but he went exactly where I put him.
he he set me up pretty good. So
I put you exactly where I wanted you because there's
uh-huh.
no way you could have fucking got that thing stopped.
Honestly,
And
honestly there
afterwards, you were like, "God damn it!"
it's exactly what I said, dude. I was like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. I could have just kept on the brakes, but I might have tucked the front. And then I was like, oh, if I crash into Dustin at his event, he's gonna be pissed. So it's
That's not really
okay.
my event, dude. Like,
Well, I
it's
mean,
I'm one
you're
of
one
the
of the
owners of
guys.
the shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but
I mean,
I'm a racer. I'm kind of the racer guy in the team.
yep.
Um, so anyway, back to the club racing
Yeah,
shit. Like, what?
yeah.
Let me ask you this. Like, since you've raced in Colorado, you've raced in Utah. Utah? Did you do
Yeah,
Utah?
I have done Utah.
Yeah.
I'm not very successful there. I have
So what's the farthest you've had to drive to club race? Obviously
um
Colorado, right? I
I
mean,
think it's Colorado, yeah. So we went
you
to the
didn't.
MRA and that was it. So
Yeah, I
but
mean, I keep hearing such good things that about Road America getting a repave. I'm like, dude, we
dude,
should. Who's club racing out there,
I
right? Like, let's
know.
road trip out there, dude.
If we could get a convoy going, I think that would be a blast. I just
Dude,
want to race around the country without it being like Moto America expensive, you know?
right?
So,
Yeah, I mean, you've raced. I'm gonna just shift gears here. Like, you've raced a
yep.
bunch of different bikes, right? You
Mhm.
know, after the R1, you had a couple of Cowies.
Yep.
Everybody makes mistakes. I get it. And then now
Some
you're
of
on a
them are still
Suzuki.
making them. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so what's your deal, man? Like, are you just like sample platter? Like, just gonna
Yeah.
try? You gonna ride an Aprilia 660 next?
Well, honestly, I've thought about going twins because I just get my ass handed to me in 1000. So, I honestly like y- it's hard to explain. I really just want to be fast on whatever I'm on. So like if I could just say, yeah, I did 47s on every bike that I've ridden, at Chuckwalla, like that's just my benchmark. So if I could say I did 47s at every track I've been to, or I mean, every bike I've been on at Chuckwalla, that would be pretty legit. So it's
Yeah.
not the reason, but like honestly, you're always trying to find something that you're super comfortable with. And I think the 16 to 20 Cowie was the one I've been most comfortable on, but the new Gixxer kind of mimics that. So
Oh, really?
I I I
How
like it so
so?
far.
Does it like
It's
make
just
power in the same way, or?
more smooth, I think. Like I think my Cowie was a little bit down on horsepower, maybe like 5 to 10 horsepower. My new one made a metric fuck ton of horsepower. So it
Really?
was like much harder to ride, but you get like if you get a better drive on somebody, it's so much easier to overtake with a lot of horsepower, obviously. You just have to ride a little bit smarter if you're down. So the Gixxer doesn't make a whole lot of horsepower, but it's not slow. You know what I mean? It still makes 185 horsepower. It's pretty good,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's just not like some of these dudes have. It's not even a stock 1000 build. It's literally a stock bike.
Yeah.
So it's good. I want to find something I'm comfortable on, and obviously you have to ride it a bunch to be you know to make it do exactly what you're trying to do. And
Like, you're a pretty big guy. I mean, how
mhm,
tall are you?
I am 6'2".
Yeah. So this dude is, for those watching that don't know this guy, like, he's a Sasquatch basically.
Yeah, I'm a big
And
guy.
I mean, it's, you've seen the cartoon of the gorilla bear on a tricycle. That's what he looks like on a sport bike,
I even
right?
fit on an O'Valley, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah, dude, the bear on the tricycle totally
Yeah,
fits the O'Valley, bro.
that's 100%. That's 100%.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so is it that, like, you switch the Cowie and the now the Suzuki? Is it just
Yep.
mostly because of the way it fit you? Or are there like a set of electronics features that you were looking for? Like what?
So that was the original thing is I wanted my 21, like I bought the 21 ZX10 so that I could have basically the same thing as the 16 to 20 but with more horsepower. And
Right.
on paper that's exactly what it is. But the new bike, the electronics were not as good, and for whatever
You could
reason
say
they
what
sucked.
they were shit,
They
right?
sucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like no matter what we changed, I felt like it was a different bike whenever you start it, like it's totally different bike. So
Right.
that was frustrating. I feel like as a rider I'm super consistent. Like I can hit the same marks and run a lap time within a tenth of each other for however long, for almost a full gas tank, like even as the tires go. But just the ZX10, it was never the same thing. Like you'd get on
Right.
it, and for again, Chuck Waller reference, like you could do a 47, and then you'd get on it again, same weekend, literally the next race, and you'd be like, wow, I can barely do 49s. And like,
Right.
I know I'm not that inconsistent where I'm two
Right.
seconds different the whole race.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I don't know how the national guy like I talked to Stefano Mesa
hmm
recently, right?
yep,
He races the Cowie. I don't know
yep,
if he races the new one,
he
but
does. Yeah,
yeah,
he
somehow that dude figured it out. I don't
it's
know.
incredible, and I think he's just extremely talented. Like
That
that
too.
goes a long way. I mean, you look at Corey and Mikey; they both were doing well on it, anyways,
Right.
despite the challenges. But I think everybody kind of had the same complaint that it was never a consistent bike,
Yeah.
and like that was my reason for switching. Like that was my first bike I built from scratch, like from bone stock, bought it at a dealership to like Moto America bike, like ready to go.
I
Data,
remember.
everything. Yeah.
I remember
So
you building that thing, and I was trying to scumbag you into a Yamaha before you bought it,
it's
and
true.
you went that route anyway, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, I think you can remember me telling you, I was like, dude, Stemble, you
Yeah.
looked at the electronics, I'm telling you, they're shit, and
Yep.
you're like, no, I'll figure it out, and then the stuff that you just said about it about being inconsistent, right?
hmm
You go out in one race, do a 47, and then the next race barely be able to break through the 50s, right,
Yep.
into the
Yep.
49s. So what you said is a mirror image of what another racer friend of ours said about that bike. Actually, a
Yep.
couple, right? Chad had one.
Yep.
I don't even know if he raced it. Like, but
He did a couple times, but
yeah,
he didn't like it either. So.
yeah, and then our construction buddy that hangs out with Chad. So, right?
Are you talking about Wes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wes was like, dude, this thing like it's not the same. 2 weekends in a row. Like,
he
it's
he's
not
the
the
one
same
that
two
convinced
sessions in a
me.
row.
He was like, "Hey, dude, you need to get off the Cowie." He's like, "You need an Aprilia," and I was like, "I can't afford Aprilia." So
Yeah.
I honestly that 21 Cowie almost broke me. I almost was like, I'm done with this. Like, if I'm this inconsistent, you know, like I shouldn't be racing, and it's very frustrating. But ultimately, I think it was the bike, and we're getting back to like where I was anyway.
Yeah.
Like first round on the Gixxer. So
Well, you were telling me over the summer, like you actually told me that you were going to sell the Cowie before the Laguna CRA round.
yep, and I
And
did put it
like,
up for sale too.
yeah, I mean, did you end up selling that thing?
No, so it's actually at Nick and Dave's shop, Cycle Tech in Las Vegas, and they're
Okay.
putting it back to stock. So I've basically sold all the aftermarket stuff. I have like odds and ends like an exhaust and like windscreens, like some spare stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I have about 100 sprockets for that thing. So if anyone needs Cowie sprockets, I have a lot. But yeah, it's just like it needs to go. So if anyone wants the Cowie, as it's a good street bike, it's got cruise control. It's
Wow.
just
Fuel gauge?
terrible race
Does it have
bike.
a
I
fuel
think
gauge?
it does not actually. It's
Oh, well,
uh, maybe you should get a Yamaha.
but you got
I
cruise
guess.
control, right?
It's got cruise control, dude.
I
You
mean,
might run
dude,
out of gas
that's
while you're
what you
cruising.
need. That's what you need on a sport bike is a cruise control, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not a BMW with heated grips, but
I mean, or a Harley or whatever with tassels, right? But
you
then
might as
again,
well
your
put
bike,
tassels
it
on the
is your
Cowie.
bike.
Hey, we got a lot of pink on it. That's as far as I go with the the
Yeah,
feminine side.
you guys rock the pink on the Apex Assassins uniforms, right?
It's correct. Yeah, I think I would like to say I started that whole thing.
Did you?
Yeah. So when I went to Moto
Let's
America
see
the
if we can get a
first time,
live fact check on that,
yeah,
Richard Finley, if you're still watching.
check it, dude. I painted my wheels pink and then went to Laguna for Moto America. So,
Okay.
and it was just like a pink and black theme, and
Yeah.
so I think we just kind of picked up on it, and the team likes it. So that's a pretty cool thing.
So
Uh,
I'm going to transition back to club racing for
yep,
just a second.
sure.
But you're club racing. You rock this Apex stuff, right?
Hmm.
So like, uh, and you just said that you raced the nationals. So you've been kind of dabbling in the nationals the last couple years, right?
Yeah. So, um, club racing, like I love club racing, but like at nationals, it's obviously you just want to see where you stack up against the dudes that do this. They race the whole season in Moto America, and they're obviously really fast. Everyone that shows up to Moto America is really fast. So I think
By the
I
way, the fact check
enjoyed.
came in, and it's true.
I
You
started the
did
pink.
come up with the pink thing. Yep.
um, I told you, dude. I wouldn't lie to you. Um, I think the
And
nationals is
Lugnuts
just.
is not a fan either.
Oh well, that's okay. He likes purple, so I don't get it, but
I heard
whatever.
he pees sitting down anyway. So
He does, dude. He didn't change his tampon yet, so it's
wow.
fine. um, yeah, I just like I didn't want to do nationals because I thought, oh man, I'm super fast guy. I just thought it'd be cool, like is it was like a bucket list thing, and then but we scored points in the first round that I did, which was cool. I didn't get lapped, which was the ultimate goal. And then
Right.
the next one that we did as a team. Actually, as there was a year off in between there because I had a really bad crash, which we can get to later. But I did the one this year, and we did as a team, and it was a lot of fun, man. Like just going out there with your friends, and I literally gave everything I had as far as like working out beforehand and like we were sitting on the grid and I had to shed a couple tears because I was like, dude, I gave everything. And I was
Oh,
messaging
dude.
you and you saw my Strava. Like
Yeah, man.
every day I was out there 40
We were
miles a day.
comparing.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, bro, I did 200 miles this week,
I
right?
know. I was like, all right, I got to do 205. So
You're like, if that old fat guy can do it, right?
this young fat guy could do it, then it's fine. Um, yeah, it felt good to like give everything and like, the results weren't what I wanted really, but
I mean,
um,
dude, you're a club racer showing up to a
yeah,
national. You qualify. You qualify when a lot of guys go there and they don't, right?
yep,
and
100%.
and
Yeah.
you got to race. I mean
Yep.
that, and you came home with a shiny motorcycle and a big smile on your face. Like
For sure.
that's a win, bro.
Yep. It's
Right?
it's funny like the perspective of this because when you're in it and like you come across the line, you're like, oh, I'm like barely in the top 20. Like,
Yeah.
and all weekend you've been closer to the top 10. Like the race didn't show the effort that we put in. Oh,
Right.
up to that point, but it's fine, man. It was
Well, the thing
like an
is,
experience.
those
So
guys, when you're closer to the top 10 for your one lap time,
yeah,
and those
yeah,
guys are putting in that time over and over and over again, whereas you're putting in that time once.
for sure. Yeah,
So I mean, everybody in the superbike grid feels the same thing that you said when they're behind Jake Gagne,
I know it.
right?
Yeah, they're
So
they're only half second off, but at the end of the day, Jake's doing that for the
they're like 6 seconds off, right? And he
yeah,
slowed down the last two laps to mail
yeah,
it in, right?
exactly. So
Yeah.
just to bring it
So,
home.
walk me through a little bit, your experience, that transition from club racer to the national guy on a weekend. Um, Talk about like I mean, look, you're a club racer, right? Like you're not going to go and
For
be like
sure.
Stefano and do the national series,
No,
but you're going to,
that's not me.
the West Coast shit. Like
Hmm.
back in the day, it used to be Laguna, Sonoma, and
Yep.
California Speedway, and
Yeah.
now it's just Laguna. So, or before California Speedway, it was also Willow.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So I mean,
that,
the local club guys would come and try. I mean, I know a lot of guys that would try to qualify, and then they would go home empty-handed. They didn't get the
yep.
race, but they got to camp in the paddock all weekend, so that was kind
Yeah,
of
and
neat.
you
That's
look like
probably
a
why
pro
they
racer,
really
so
did
it's
it,
fine. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They get to sign
Um,
autographs even though they didn't qualify, right?
yeah, exactly. And you get
Yeah.
to sit on the fan walk. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of a neat experience, but like talk about, I guess from a level standpoint, like what do you like
Like,
what's
what's the
different?
same and what's different?
Yeah, what's the same? What's different? Is the level of preparation different? Like the
Um,
money, talk about the money too. Like what's it
yeah.
cost to race at Laguna for a weekend as the national?
So I'll go into like what it costs, for like a club race. So for like an average club race weekend, you're spending probably with travel around 2 grand. That would be my guess. But that's like with your tire sponsorships, what credits you work, like if you work for the club and do like get race credits and stuff, um, fuel, all that stuff. If you go to Moto America, there are no discounts. So there's not like you can't just bring your own Dunlop tires. Like you can bring some that are pre-mounted, but obviously it's got to be the compound that they're allowing that weekend, and you have to make sure that that's what you're going to use anyways. So you spend a lot more just in tires, and there is a limit on what you can buy. Like or I guess you can buy whatever you want, but there's a limit on what you can use. So you're allowed 8 tires for a one race weekend, and that can be if you wanted to go one front tire and 7 rears the whole weekend, you could do that. Um, but you ultimately probably do 3 fronts and 5 rears. So in one session, you can run a new rear. So like
Wow.
you'll run a new rear at the beginning, and then halfway through, like once you feel like, all right, my eyes are up and my pace is up and I'm consistent enough to put in a good lap on a new tire, you just throw it on and hope for the best, hold on for dear life. But I would say that you probably spend close to that just in tires at Moto America. But you're spending like 250 for a license, and then you're spending I think it's $300 maybe for the entry, and then you
Okay.
have to run VP fuel, so that's another $250. You probably need a little more gas than that, but that's just at the weekend, and then you got to travel there. So it's
Right.
expensive, and that's why a lot of club guys don't go to nationals. Like I know so many fast dudes that could make every round and qualify, but just the money, it's not there.
Yeah,
So
like our buddy Lugnuts, right?
I don't think he's fast enough, dude. I think
Oh wow,
he
really?
he's one of the slower guys that we hang out with. We like to hang out with him because he is slow. So
Oh. Oh, so you hang out with him because he mixes good drinks? Is that what
yeah, I don't. He doesn't even do that. It's embarrassing.
really? So he's like me now,
Jeez. Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not cheap, and like if you go there, I mean, my friend Cody, I mean, God bless him, he did that thing as cheap as possible, and there were some times where he'd go out on a
You
uh
talking about Cochran?
I am, yeah, dude. He was go
Dude,
out
I
on
thought
used
I mean,
tires. I'm like, he's gonna fucking toss it, dude.
dude,
So
that dude, I got to hang out with him at Podium Club recently,
yep,
and let's just say that I got the vibe that Cody is really good at stretching a dollar.
he is very good at it, dude. It's incredible. So like he didn't qualify every round, but he did most of them, and he scored points in a couple. So he's not a slow dude. And he handed me my ass at Laguna, so it was like the ride of his life. So he went really good, and I mean, it's it's incredible how far he stretched a dollar to make that work. There was sessions where he would post a picture on Instagram and the tire would be fried, and he's like, "All right, I'm going out to qualify on this." And I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing? Spend
What
the
the heck's wrong with you,
220
bro?
bucks on a rear tire?"
Yeah,
So, yeah, he did good. So you can penny pinch, but like are you going to be competitive? It doesn't
right.
if you're not going to be competitive, it doesn't make any sense to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Melissa said something too, like, we were talking about her Twins Cup thing, and she was saying
Mhm.
that to do a season in Twins Cup, it's about 100 grand minimum.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know your buddy probably has your buddy could probably do it cheaper, right? But like, they're trying to win.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
you
they're
can't
trying to
do
win.
it cheaper. Like
Yeah,
if you're trying to be competitive. But if you're someone that like me that you're going out there,
Yeah.
And like obviously I'm competitive, I don't want to go out there and not qualify. I don't want to go get lapped. I'm not
Right.
saying that you're less than me for getting lapped because you still made the grid. Like there was people that Laguna that showed up, they made the time and then still didn't make it because the grid was too big. So
Right.
like you just weren't in the top 40 or 35 or however many.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So let me ask you this, man. Like you've done a bunch of club racing. What's your best club racing moment?
ooh.
If you tell me the rainy curve thing,
No, that's for a
dude,
non-race moment. That's at the
she's
track.
watching.
She is watching. She can hear me. She's in the other room. So my favorite, probably, well, I got a couple. Like my first win was cool. Um, it's tough because I know that Lugnut didn't show up to that race, but
Oh,
I think had he shown up, we would have had a good fight. I was feeling pretty good, but
wow.
like that's like the asterisk on my first win. So I
Okay.
always think about that. But then the other one was actually at CRA at Laguna. I had like an incredible battle with Will Russell. Me and him, I mean, for 3 laps were side by side. Like, I mean, wheel to wheel the entire lap, crossing over each other's lines, passing each other. And then unfortunately, he crashed in turn 6. So he's like, I'm going to outbreak you into 6. And I was like, okay, I'll let you go. And
I
he
was I
hit
was
the
in that
bump and
race.
hucked it. Yep.
I was in that race. Like you guys kind of got away, and then I was like, "Oh, look, that's Bill." Oh,
Yeah. Oh, he's
yeah,
stumbling off. Yeah. I
yeah,
thought he was going to be so mad and he came over and gave me a big hug. But yeah, it was like you can't ask for anything better. Like I don't even care if that was for 5th or 10th or 20th. It was
yeah,
like good, clean racing, and like what I appreciate about Will and even Manny Segura. Like he's
yeah,
another one that comes to my mind. Is like we race so hard but clean. Like
yeah,
we always pass each other and like we'll stand each other up. Like we don't make contact, but it's like it's really close. There has been
yeah.
contact, but that's my favorite kind of racing when you can trust the person next to you.
I've raced a few times with Manny.
Yep,
Manny knows what's up.
he
Like
does, dude.
years ago, we had a race at Chuckwalla, and I think we were battling for the last podium spot in the shootout or something.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to go under me into 7. We were going counterclockwise,
Yep.
and I just closed the door on him, and I looked over at him, and I shook my finger at him while the knee was on the ground, right? And I'm like, no.
You ain't passing me.
And so then afterwards, he's like, dude, you shook your finger at me like Matumbo. And I was like, I know.
Oh, I love that guy. Man, he's one of
Yeah.
my really good friends, like at the racetrack. We talk a lot, but dude, I love that guy. So
Yeah, he's a
it's
good dude.
I find myself with him and Will on the track almost
Yeah.
every freaking race. So I think
Will's
I
gotten a
just
lot faster since I left Chuckwalla.
yep.
I left at the end of 2020. Haven't been back since
Yep.
for obvious reasons. And but yeah, dude, like I don't know what the fuck happened. The pandemic, he
Mhm.
got like reverse COVID or something, and like Bill,
Dude.
like dude, Bill couldn't get out of his own way, and then all of a sudden he's like fast.
He got married. That's what happened.
Oh, he's
He got
getting laid on the
married.
regular.
Yeah,
Got
that's what
it.
he's a little lighter if you catch my drift.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All
uh
right.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think and now we're on the same bike, so there's like no excuse. So
Right
I
on.
better beat him and whenever he comes back to racing, yeah, I'm gonna have to show him a thing or two how to race that bike. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so he's riding a Suzuki as well?
yep, he's
Because
riding
he
the
was a
Jixer
Cowie guy
1000.
too.
So he rode a Cowie for a while. I think he went to an R6 to the Cowie.
Oh,
But
okay.
dude, he raced Richard's dinosaur bikes, like I think they're '01 Gixxer 1000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so he raced that, and I think he went sub 50 on it. It's like, I
Bill
think he
did,
got
or
yeah, Bill.
I was talking about Manny.
Oh no, Manny's
Yeah,
on a
Bill.
Cowie. Yeah.
Yeah, Manny's always kind of been a Cowie guy from what I remember.
Yep.
But yeah, Bill's he like he was known for racing bikes of all sorts,
Yep.
right?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I used to give him so much crap like when we first started the CVMA series. he would kind of pit next to us, kind of like where Ryan Whitman used to pit,
Yep.
and yeah, dude, like I would give him so much crap because I was like, dude, where'd you get the hardware for this bike, bro? Like they look like Home Depot bolts
I
on his
bet.
bike,
I
and
wouldn't
and
put that past him
he
either.
had he had a good dude working on his stuff. He had ESP working on his stuff. So I
Yep.
was like, dude, why is your bike so clapped out, bro? And then that's just how I rolled. I would just talk shit to
Yep.
everybody, and it was just for fun. And but yeah, he's like, man, why you always gotta, so it's
He's
pretty funny.
that dude raced small bikes. I'm pretty sure he raced like a Ninja 250 or maybe it's a 300, but I think it
Kavarlas
was
is
a
saying he
250.
had that weird Ninja 250 with the Busa front end
Oh
on it.
yeah, yeah,
That's
that's
right. It
funny.
looked like a GP bike, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's funny that like you learn to be such a savage on those little things. Like you can't
Yeah,
let off the throttle. Like on a big bike, if you make a mistake, you can still get back in it or take a different line. Like on the small bikes, you're so screwed if you roll off at the wrong time. Like
right.
it takes you a whole lap to get that momentum back.
Yeah. I
So
mean, I did a couple of races in that little bike class out there. I raced Matt Hornshoe's R3 once,
yeah.
and then I raced one of those. I'm really gonna regret saying this, but I raced an Andy Palmer built Ninja 250.
Do you
So
like
in
it?
both cases, no, in both cases, this is just me, right? Like I didn't give a shit about that class, but I was
Yeah.
like, look it, let's go warm up laps for practice,
Yeah.
and basically, as soon as Shannon put the board sideways, I took off, and I was halfway through the field before she green flagged it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to
so
cheat so
I
somehow.
mean, yeah, I mean, whatever. I think it was like 207s or something per
Oh,
sheet.
dude, I mean, that's pretty fast. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
207s on a 250, like there was times my first track day, I think at Chuck, I was doing like 225s, man, on an R1. Like I had a '09 R1 and it was, like no traction control, so like I was deathly afraid of high siding it and I made it all the way till that crash at Big Willow before I had my first crash. So
yeah.
I made it like through my whole amateur season without crashing, and then my first expert race weekend, I blew the clutch and crashed. So yeah, not my proudest moment.
So okay, so you've had a couple of offs. You
Yeah.
know, everybody asks this every time. Like, how did you come back from? How did you go back to doing what it was that you did when you went off?
Um, honestly, I was kind of scared. So in March of 21, I had a really bad crash where I hit my head and had a brain bleed from a high side, and I was having a great weekend. It was like PRs all weekend. And it was the last race, and I got a crappy start. Dave Thomas was in front of me, so I was like, all right, I'll just pass him on the brakes. But Travis Wyman was racing that weekend, so I was like, all right, I got to catch Travis. And him and I have gone back and forth this whole weekend, so like, I know I'm riding good, and I
Yeah.
just got on the gas too hard out of six and high sided, but I never let go of the bike. So like, I was holding on to the bike, and it whiplashed me over the other side. Um, and knocked me out instantly. Like I don't remember anything from that day, but got to the hospital and Rainey's like, "Oh man, I'm glad when we went home, she's like, that was a long time." And I was like, "Man, that was a weird day, huh?" And I thought it was just one day, but I was there for a week. So, um I was scared to come back actually. So my next track day was at Laguna. I had put the bike back together cuz the bike was like I broke a windscreen, and a clip on. So it was totally fine.
Isn't that how it always works?
It's
Right?
either your body or the bike.
Yeah.
So
Lately, for me, it's been kind of like a combo of the two.
yeah, so that's where you got to get away from it. You either hurt yourself or you hurt the bike. There's
Right.
no in between.
Right.
Except you. Apparently, you're a weird one.
Yeah. I mean, I no. It's just I think it's part of getting old.
Yeah,
It's so strange. Like the crash to injury thing really escaped me until 2018.
yeah.
Aside from the K&N oil filter thing
Oh,
in
yeah,
16,
yeah,
but like the man, it's like I don't. I'm not like a crasher. Like I don't throw shit down the road all the time. But like since 2018, dude, it's like you throw the thing down the road and pretty much going to the hospital. Like
Yeah,
that's you know
it's it's crazy. Like the faster you go, the harder the crashes sometimes, you know. But
yeah
I feel like if you watch the fast dudes, like MotoGP, Moto America, World Superbike, I would say the fastest guys usually tuck the front. You know, it's rare that they high side.
right.
So
Yeah.
for
I
us,
mean,
it's a lot of high
in
siding.
GP maybe more high siding,
Yeah, yeah,
but yeah, I mean, look, those super bikes are so locked down with the torque and everything, and like off
yep,
the bottom, like the exit of the corner high side's pretty rare unless you get a good inertia one.
right.
I think Bobier kind of had an inertia one
Hmm.
um, at Indy, maybe, and it put him in the
Oh,
wall,
that's right. I
right?
do remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it like snapped
and
the front end.
then Jake's this year at Brainerd,
Hmm.
where the front end was like a catapult.
Yep.
That was a, I think that was a tuck the front kind of thing, you know. But I think you're right on some level there.
Yeah.
Um, usually the crashes that I've had are front end tucks too.
Yep.
Man.
I
But
definitely have the most moments on the front. Like, especially now, I'm like almost afraid to give it gas. You know, I'm like, oh, geez, is it gonna work? Like, is our traction control gonna work or not?
yeah,
So that I have to unlearn that from the Cowie. So now I have to learn to trust the Jigsaw because I know it works. You know, like it might not be as sophisticated as like the kit electronic stuff on the Cowie, but I know it's gonna work when it comes on. You know, it's not gonna be like the Cowie has the audible traction control and it'll be like pop 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 pop, and sometimes it would do that, and
yeah,
you'd still almost high side. You're like, what the heck?
yeah.
Didn't
I
even
mean,
do anything.
it's crazy, man. Like Melissa was talking about working on Hunter Dunham's bike, but
Uh huh.
we were talking about the Yamaha electronics. Like Richard and I did that video on it about how
Yep.
to use it, and a lot of racers still using that as a reference.
Yep.
But the R1, I mean, dude, like I ride the thing and I've got it damn near in rain mode off the bottom. It's like I can just stick the thing and it's just like you hear it crackling and popping and it works.
Yep.
But it takes a long time for me, it took, because I'm old. I raced carbureted bike,
Yeah, with
20
no
years
traction
ago
control.
with nothing, right? So to learn how to trust that the electronics are going to be there, it takes a sort of like a leap of faith almost.
It does. Yeah, you
Because
just
you
need
got to
to
stick
jump
the
in.
thing, like knee down, stick the thing, and it
Yep.
works, right? But
Yep.
like to tell your brain to send those signals to your hand is hard,
Yeah.
man.
It's
So
funny. Fuzzy told me so when I was telling him like, "Oh, the electronics don't work, you know, it's inconsistent. Sometimes traction control works, sometimes it doesn't." I was talking to Fuzzy about it and he's like, "Dude, you're not giving it full throttle. Like it will only work if you give it full throttle. You know, like if you're half-assing it, like for the Cowie anyway, I don't know how the Yamaha or the Suzuki are, but like if you're half-assing the throttle on the Cowie, it doesn't understand that it needs to kick in traction control. It just
mm.
thinks you're manipulating the throttle.
No, dude,
So,
ours cuts the torque,
yeah.
so it's just
Yeah, it
like
must be nice.
you know, it's pretty sweet.
And you have
You
that
should
slide control stuff. It's pretty
you
sweet.
should try one. You should try one.
I
Um,
let me
the new
ride
one.
one. I'll go ride one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the comments, dude,
Yeah,
because
sorry.
like there is like rapid fire, bro.
Oh,
Like it
great.
is, yeah. It's pretty great. Okay,
Send it.
so I'm gonna just say I'm gonna start with August Nord. August is actually doing the nationals as well.
Yep,
Um,
I
I
know
think I'm
her.
gonna. I think I'm probably gonna podcast with her next year. I know we've been talking, but
Nice.
do an episode of Ask a Privateer with her. But
Hmm.
yeah, so she's saying Motor America gets cheaper if you're fast enough.
It is true. Yeah. Sometimes
Get some of that
my
purse money,
first
buddy.
dude, my first ever money making experience racing was Moto America. So I went that whole time without making a dollar. Then I got 14th and I got $250. So it was
Yeah.
it was like, all right, thanks for the tire. I appreciate it.
And then let's see here. Shownuff USA said,
Hmm.
I guess you were talking about the mini thing, and he said it was fun watching you and Vanessa battle it out on Friday. I could
Oh
tell
yeah.
you were studying her, looking for a pass, and you finally executed it in the hairpin.
Yep.
And it's very interesting listening to you talk about racecraft. after. So
My favorite thing about racing is racecraft. Like,
yeah, dude.
there's a lot of people that can be fast and have one-off laps where they're really quick, but
Yeah.
the racecraft, like, you can't beat a good brain on the track, which is it's my favorite part for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like I was telling you before, like that pass at Laguna, dude, I put
Hmm.
you exactly where I wanted you to go,
I believe
and
it,
you
and
fell for it, and
yep,
it was so funny because you watch it on video, and I'm like, dude, I watch this,
I
I'm
know
setting it up, and then I just kind of inch over and close off your entry, and that was it,
exactly.
you know.
Yeah, like I'm not going to turn back and make the corner now. So
Jeff
that was
Jeff Stern used to do that shit to me at Willow, man. Like for a whole season, I was getting closer and closer, and he had a dude on the wall, so every time I got really, this is like 15, 17 years ago now, probably.
yeah,
But every time I'd get close to Stern, his guy Rusty would hold the pit board out and it'd be like plus, he would show him a +0. And
yeah,
fucking Stern would go drop a second and a half like that, right? He was
hmm,
like mailing it in.
yep,
So, couple times, dude, I would go and take a shot and he would just like park the thing and just ruin my drive. And
yep,
or he would ride in a way that would force me to like burn up my tires. You know?
yep.
I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
dick.
he.
So yeah,
Some
like
people are just really good that way.
I was always fascinated with how Stern, and he was an old guy back then even.
Yeah,
And so how he was able to go and use racecraft um without not necessarily speed. He was using racecraft to smoke fools,
yep,
you know. So
it,
I mean, I'll never forget that because I filed that in the cabinet. You know what I mean?
yep.
Never gonna be fast like that, but maybe
You might, and
on
honestly,
any
it's
given weekend.
yeah, like sometimes you just need that little bit of confidence in a weekend, and you're able to pull off the moves that you want, like the ones that you're thinking about that you're unsure of. Usually, you're like, oh, I don't know if I can make that work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just confident. You're like, all right, I put a pass on. That was it. So,
So okay, so Brian Green's asking like how many people help you on a typical race weekend, and do you have more when you do those nationals?
so on a typical race weekend, it's usually me and Rainey, like as far as like direct help. So we just kind of help each other. Um, but
Wasn't that special?
I know, but usually you're running your own tires and you're like even she runs her own tires usually,
Yeah,
unless we're going to the same spot, but she uses those Dunlop stuff. So um
that sucks.
anyway, she says he doesn't help me. That's a lie. Uh anyways, so I have her, but when you do nationals, you need probably like a minimum of 4 people. There's
Really?
people that do it with less, but like you have to have tires ran, like unless you don't want to. I mean, you can burn yourself out. So I know Anthony and Stacy did it with just those two, but there's still other people there helping us, like
Right.
it wasn't it wasn't just a two-man show. So
That makes
you,
sense.
you just need help, like in the pits especially, or I mean on hot pit especially. Like
Yeah.
it's there's so many things that can be done. Like I know Stefano Mesa changed his own tires on hot pit, but he's still got two other dudes there. They're doing other things. So
Wow. Okay, so let's see. Bearded Jixer says that he does his races alone. The wife occasionally puts his rear stand on.
well, just got to
There
learn
you
how to
go.
change some tires.
And Finley wants to know who Bearded Jixer is. It's a dude named Ernie. His last name escapes me off the top of my head, but his Richard, it's Ernie. It's the other Bearded Jixer guy, not you,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, he's
All
probably
right.
cooler than Rich.
Oh, and Lugnuts is saying, "Oh, I thought you had two accounts."
For
Wow, I
Rich.
wouldn't put it past him to comment twice to help out the algorithm or whatever.
Oh, I know.
He's a
He's
giver like that.
that's right, dude. He'll help everyone
Yeah.
out.
Okay, so let's see here. Brian Green asked something else. Um, he said something else. Let's see. I must have lost it. Damn it. Whatever. Okay, so Barry says that he's there for fun. There's a few people in this chat that he's raced that are faster than him, but at the end of the day, it's just club racing. Maybe he'll do Moto America one time, but that's not his goal. His goal is
Hell
to
yeah.
waste money and have a smile on his face.
Oh,
Well,
that's an
dude,
easy accomplishable goal right
club
there.
racing is your sport,
That's
brother.
right. If you want to waste money, dude, go club racing.
Okay, so obviously I'm involved in the CRA.
Yep.
Um, you raced with us a little bit. What do you think?
So super well organized, actually. I was a little surprised because we just did actually the new mini races. Like I just got this Valley, so we did mini races. It wasn't quite as well organized. Tons of fun, but obviously there were
Yeah,
some kinks. But I feel like the event ran super smooth, and we had fog too, so that delayed a bunch of stuff. And
right,
it still got done, you know, in a timely fashion. It was You weren't delayed for super long. We weren't waiting for races once it was ready to go.
right.
And yeah, I had a blast. Like registration was super easy. I hit you up. I was like, "Hey, dude, I need a license," and you're like, "Click some buttons," and I was ready to go. So
Right on.
you didn't let me
And,
have my number, but that's cool.
well, because somebody else had it.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
fine.
you're not. I think I told you verbatim. I said you're not special.
That is exactly what you said. And I left
No,
the chat.
but I mean, seriously, you were at our Laguna event, right? And
Yep.
like that was the first club race at Laguna in like 40 years or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
or maybe more. I don't know. But like, tell me what you think, what you and your crew were talking about that event. Was it like to me? It was like super special, right? Because it
Yeah.
was like, wow, dude, we brought club racing back to Laguna. That was badass,
Yep.
and it was super fun. The grids were packed. So like from the writer's perspective, like what'd you think about that?
So as a rider, the 20 lap race, that was probably my favorite thing of the weekend. Like obviously there was everybody from different talent levels, like I think there was amateurs in that one, right?
No, no.
There's no
Oh, well, yeah,
amateurs.
yeah, yeah. Actually,
Cuz
yeah,
yeah, cuz
The
yeah.
GT race did have amateurs in it. That's right.
So that
Yeah,
that was interesting. Like you're battling, but you're also having to deal with like
a lot of
lappers.
traffic.
Yeah,
Yep.
which I'm not normally fast enough to make that I don't know how that would work, but I'm not fast enough to have to lap people. So
We're usually not doing 20 lap races.
exactly. I mean, maybe if we were doing 20 laps everywhere else, then it
Yeah,
might happen, but definitely not sprint racing.
yeah.
Um, but it was
I
just
mean,
a
there's a couple
blast,
of
man.
things I could throw at you with CRA, and tell me what you think. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the sprint races were 8 laps instead of the
I like
normal
the
6.
longer races because it feels like, especially at Laguna. I mean, even if we could just make the races, 17 minutes long, that's like the perfect amount.
Oh, is
So
it
yeah, it's great. So 20 minutes a little too
17
long. I would get a
minutes?
little winded,
Oh,
but 10 minutes not enough.
it's
It's like
like
a little dabble in the race, and then you're done already. So
so 8 lap sprints,
I love
20
it.
lap, 16 to 20 lap GP race, uh, depending
GT.
on Grand Touring, right?
Yep.
Grand
Yep.
Touring.
Yep.
So yeah, the GT races are 16 to 20 laps depending on what your displacement is,
Yep.
and the track distance. So some of the tracks like Buttonwillow, we learned that
Yeah.
18 was better,
Yeah.
right?
You run
I
out of
mean,
gas
I
at
know
20.
Bakken ran out
So
of gas at one time. I was like,
I
oh
know,
shit,
dude. And he
almost got
he was
rear.
in what, second, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Something. Oh man.
but it was we tried it. It's like, oh, that didn't work. But yeah, so if it's a track like that, we'll do 18 laps.
Yeah. Yep.
But just to make sure everybody makes the checkered flag, right? But
Yeah, and I remember I had asked you too, like I have fuel foam in the gas tank because it's a requirement for Moto America, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna even make the 20 laps at Laguna.
yeah,
So I got there, the gas light was on, but ended up making it. So I
yeah.
think
I
that was
mean,
the perfect distance. It was like a hard race physically, but it's still like there's strategy. I love that the strategy
yeah,
part of it, man. That's
yeah.
my favorite.
Because then you're like battling with your homie, and then you
Yep.
start catching lappers, and you're like, oh, dude, I'm gonna huck this lapper at him,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So it's great, man.
You
And
see him,
then
you're like, oh God, I'm gonna catch him in the corkscrew. You're like, oh, where am I gonna pass? Yeah, it's a lot more
what do
strategy.
you've raced at a lot of clubs.
Yep.
Have you raced AFM yet?
I have not raced AFM, but I went to. It was after I crashed, so I watched Anthony and Rainey race at AFM.
Okay.
So
So so you've raced and you've been to AFM. You've
yeah,
raced
so I know
CRA,
their format.
CVMA, MRA, WERA.
Yep,
Did you do the Utah Sport Bike
I
Association thing
did.
too?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So okay, now that you've raced at all those, like
hmm
compare CRA's trophies and podium ceremonies to every other club,
so
and go.
so here's the thing. CVMA just started doing the podium celebrations for the shootouts only. But CRA, you get the badass champagne, you get interviews. I love that. Like you get there after, like right after the race, they're getting interviewed, with the adrenaline still flowing, and
Yeah.
like no other organization's doing that. So that's appreciated. Like even when, so when you guys did the girl race and all the chicks were up there, that's a special moment for them. Like, you know, I'm not saying that they don't get recognized in every club because usually they have their own race, but it's not like something that anybody really focuses on. Like, oh, if Wall is out, like, okay, that's just a break until my race. Honestly, I thought that. No offense to any girls out there, but it's like I'm not gonna go
Wow,
watch.
Dick.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm the worst. But it's like it's cool when it's people though. So like as time has gone on, and now I know pretty much every chick on the grid, I go watch the race. So um, and obviously Rainey's racing now, so it's a requirement. I'm required to go watch it, but they don't do the podium for that. They don't get
Yeah.
recognition. They do the race, but and they have their own championship, but it's not like an immediate recognition. So
Yeah, I think I don't. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I don't know exactly how we pick what classes are going to get podium ceremony.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, I'm just going to say that Gigi just sticks a star next to whatever.
yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
okay. I didn't even know. I thought it was most of them.
Yeah, and I think there's like 5 or 6 of those things a weekend, man. She
Yep.
buys all this champagne. It's hilarious. But I mean, I think it's something good for to recognize club racers. I
Yeah.
mean, like, like club racing for me, like the entire time I've been club racing, a a lot of times the club focuses a lot of effort, almost all their effort on the top, 10 dudes,
Yeah. The
and
fast
you know,
class. Yeah.
and it's like the club is built on everyone else.
Yep.
So like, why not recognize them too, man?
Right.
That guy on the 660 or the R7 or whatever he's spending money. The guy in like our club, the Harley dudes come out, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, dude, if you knew how much money some of these guys have in their Harleys, you'd be like, "What, dude?"
I
Right?
know.
I mean, seriously, like, you and I, we ride a current 1,000, right?
Yep.
Building and racing a current 1,000 is not like the old $10,000 race bike days are
Yeah.
long gone.
Yep.
And dude, these Harley guys that race at CRA, Brendan and the rest of them,
Yep.
they're like 30, 40, $50,000 sportsters
I
basically, right?
know.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, you know, and some of them sometimes they crash and it bends the forks and stuff, and they somehow get the thing straightened out and they're racing still that weekend. So
Yep.
um, it's pretty great to try and recognize each kind of group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
agree, and I think that does a lot for the longevity of the sport too. So you'll
yeah,
get like the people that got a podium, like let's say we did an amateur celebration or a podium celebration, and like that was their second race weekend ever. They come out, they're like, "Oh shit, I got a podium, and
yeah,
then I got to spray champagne." Like
yeah,
this is badass,
yeah.
So
But then, oh shit, I got champagne on my new leathers. What?
yeah, I know. Yeah, they're like, "What the
Or
hell?"
like,
This.
or Laguna, that one dude like sprayed the guy's bike or something. It's like,
Oh,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So you talked about getting interviewed, man. Like, what do you think of LGB's time on the mic? Right, that dude's hilarious,
He,
isn't he?
you want to know what's hilarious? So, backstory: I proposed at Laguna at the CRA event, right?
I was
So,
gonna ask you about that
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's in my
Anyway,
notes, man. But go
dude,
ahead.
I don't. Well, I
You
don't know. I
fucked it
can't read
up.
your
It's
notes. I
already
can't
fucked.
read your
Yeah,
notes.
it's already fucked.
So yeah, we're way all over the place anyway.
I know, right?
Uh, so it's so funny. I remember what he said. He goes, "Oh yeah, and so your fiance Clint just proposed to you this weekend, right?" And so everyone was like silent, and I was like, "Wait, is he talking to Rainey right now? Like someone else got engaged, you know?" Then I look up, and he's like talking to Rainey. I'm like, "Oh, he meant me," and he's like pointing at me, and he's like, "That's your name, right, Clint?"
In your defense, you
I was
kind
like,
of look
"Damn
like a
it."
Clint.
I know. They call me Baby Huey, Clint, whatever. It's
Yep.
fine, dude. Um, so that cracked me up. But dude, he does a great job. And like even during the race, he's announcing stuff, and like it's nice to hear the race. Like say you're changing a tire and you can't go watch. Like at least you can hear who's battling for the win, you know.
Right.
And it's
Right.
yeah, I love that. So I tell him to keep it up.
I definitely will. I mean, LGB is now the other thing is there's a few comments in there about the Laguna national anthem.
Oh, the
Um,
Jimi Hendrix dude.
yeah, I mean,
You got to fire whoever was in charge of that. That was 15 minutes I'll never get back.
wow. Yeah, we had many discussions after that. And the thing is, was like, that's a well-known national anthem, and
Yeah.
I get exactly why it was used, but
Yep.
I think we didn't realize it was like 18 minutes long.
It's so long. And then when you think, all right, we're about halfway through,
Like
it restarts at the beginning. You're
everybody
like,
was like, I remember standing there, and there was a guy that wanted to talk to me about something, and I looked around and everybody starts giggling. They're
yeah,
like, shit, it's not over yet.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
funny
that was
because like I'm super patriotic. I love America,
yeah,
but I had to chuckle because it just kept going, man. And we're all looking at each
yeah,
other like, is
dude,
this thing gonna end or what?
yeah. All right, and then Brian Green, he was asking about Dave Thomas, gifting me a foot peg at Laguna,
Oh,
which
I
was
saw that
hilarious.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, like he just like straight up like hucked the foot peg at me,
yeah,
dude, and then
dude,
he's
that's
like, "That's
scary.
it, I'm out."
Yeah, he was, dude. He got it. It fell off at the perfect time,
that
right
was
out of
uh
turn 10.
that was right before the turn 11 Skittles,
Yep. Oh
I think it
yeah,
was
with
Jack and
yeah, a couple other fast
yeah,
dudes.
it was like three or four bikes, and some were orange and stuff
Dude,
and
two guys
leathers.
were wearing the same suit, and so
Yeah,
I thought I was having like this seizure, dude. There was one guy in an orange suit standing on the inside of 11, one guy in the dirt on the outside of 11. I think it was Wes, maybe was one of them.
yeah, it was Wes.
Yeah. So, and I'm like going through the corner, and I'm like, what is happening? There's two dudes that look
Yeah,
exactly the same, like almost they looked identical to me, same height, same build, and
yeah. Like I
everything.
rolled through there, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude, it's like Skittles on the
Yeah.
ground." Like,
I see
and
a
and
fender go
somehow,
50 feet in the air.
dude, somehow they were all out of the way before we got back through the next time.
Yep.
I
Yep.
think
The race didn't stop.
there was like a chunk of plastic or something on like
Yeah,
right before the yeah.
it was Jack's fender. And
Oh, is that what it was?
yeah, so like that was the race with me and Will. And I remember like I went on the outside of it and Will's going on the inside of it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like hopefully that's not here when we come back.
yeah, yeah.
So
That was pretty crazy. All right, so there's some more comments here. Oh
cool.
yeah, so yeah, I guess MRA also does pretty good race weekend interviews.
Hmm.
I thought MRA when I raced with them, dude, MRA it was like a camp out sesh,
Yeah.
like with the first couple of times I raced. I mean, this is obviously like those
Y-
people that I were that racing there are probably mostly gone now, but
mhm.
because attrition, whatever. But
Right.
when I raced there in 2010 and 11, you know, when I raced here in 2010 and I was building CVMA in the background, I was like, man, I wanted the vibe to be like the vibe at MRA. It was like,
Yep.
dude, it was like they the racing was almost secondary, right? It
Yeah.
was like a camping trip with your home with 200 of your homies, right?
Dude,
And
it was the best, man.
it was great, right? And
Yep.
and this is back when Shane Turpin was still like the man out there,
Yeah. Yep.
and Rob Chrisman I think was there, but Turp was pretty dominant, and man, it was just the vibe there was just so good. I wanted to
Yeah.
replicate that here, and that's kind of how CVMA started,
Right.
really. Yeah.
Yep.
So. I mean, I went there I think that summer, and I came back and I called Nikki and I was like, "Hey, dude, you still want to do that race thing?"
Yep.
So that's kind of Kyle's little history lesson there for those that don't know.
It's
um,
pretty cool because they do so like they're after the 4 hour, they have all the teams like sitting there in the paddock
yeah,
and everyone's has their beer or whatever, and
yeah,
like nobody really knows who won, because it's always super close.
right,
And like you guys are having like side bets, like, oh, I bet we beat you, and
yeah.
that was us and the posse guys. I love them, so that
All
was
right,
a
so
lot of fun.
now let's go back to your proposal thing.
Oh yeah, okay,
You bugged me for months for this.
I did.
You
You and
did.
Gigi.
You
Yep,
were you were up my ass for like 2 months before the Laguna round even
yep.
started, and unfortunately, I missed it because I was busy blowing up air fence.
I know.
Um,
That was our excuse to get out there, actually.
yeah, yeah. Well, that was the I set you guys up a track walk,
Yeah,
the
which got
track run.
canceled.
It did.
So yeah, so
I didn't
um,
know. We were
Gigi.
out setting up air fence. I missed that.
The original plan was to let everyone go out on the track for a track walk, like
Yeah,
between 4 and 5 or 5 and 6, something like that.
yeah.
And so I had brought Rainey's parents out.
Oh my goodness.
Like they were there, they were going to be there for the whole thing, and they just thought, Rainey's racing at Laguna, it's a cool opportunity, whatever. So I had this planned for months.
I
Like
know.
I was like, all right, I'm proposing in Rainy Corner to Rainy, like so that was cool for me. And cool for her, I'm sure. But it worked out because Gigi was like, the track walk's canceled, but she goes, we really need your help blowing up air fences. And I was like, oh, I don't want to fucking blow up air fences. I want to go propose. And she's like, no, you idiot, we're gonna go propose. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we all get in
She's
Richard's
like, we
truck.
need your help,
Yeah. So I'm like,
right?
hey, Tim and Steph, I need to go blow up air fences, but we really need your help. And Brandy's like, why, okay, I guess we'll go blow up air fences. Like she couldn't figure out why I was so like intent on doing this.
Yeah.
And so we get out of the truck, and I was like, oh, Randy, we got to go take our picture. Like we have a picture there,
Yeah.
since I raced the first time at Laguna, in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we were just trying to replicate that, and then so our friend Dylan was there to shoot the pictures, and so he gets out of the truck and he's like taking pictures, and we were trying to make it not obvious. So I go down and I grab Rainey's hands and I totally fumbled all the words. And I was like, "I love you, I love you, right?" You know, tried to spit out like something that were some words that were like meaningful, but it came out retarded. Anyway, she's like, "I don't even know what you said," so that works out great. And I just got down on one knee, and yeah, so now we're getting married, and she's gonna
Yeah.
be stuck
When's
with
that
me.
happening?
September 16th, we just set a date.
Oh,
So
that's why she said hopefully the race weekend's not on the 16th.
yep, yep. So that's why, dude, we waited for all the race orgs to come out with the
Dude,
schedule.
we're still, we have dates in June, September, and October.
Yep,
We're not sure. I
yep.
mean, they haven't confirmed them yet. So,
That's the hard thing is like we didn't want to put our friends in a spot where they have to choose.
right.
So, and if they choose racing, like that's cool with me, honestly, like that's a lot of
That's
fun. So,
it's normal.
yeah.
I mean, I think the one race weekend I skipped was for my brother's wedding in Australia.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
it.
that's a good reason to skip. That'd be pretty
Um,
badass.
but yeah, I mean, it's you know, club racers are racers gonna race, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
that's just what happens. That's a pretty cool story that you have there, man. Like that,
Thanks, dude.
yeah. And you did that at our weekend, which
Yeah, the
is
CRA
hilarious.
weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I was like talking to Nicole Cox for Moto America to do it, and like, oh, maybe they can get like a camera out there, and she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
like let's do it. And then I thought like, oh man, what if I go out there, I do all this proposing stuff, and then I don't qualify or something, like I get hurt. So I was like, man, I'm just gonna do it at CRA, and because it was
Well,
like the next weekend, I think, or
word
like
on
two
the
weeks.
street is that Finley's gonna get ordained and marry you guys.
That is correct.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So it's funny. I asked him, I was like, hey, man, will you be my best man? And he's like, of course. I already have the speech written. My guy actually wrote the speech, and I thought he was joking, but he shared the speech around to some of our friends on the team. and they all started crying. I was like, "Oh God, it's a good speech."
Oh wow.
So now he gets to do a speech and marry us, but also my friend Nick is going to be like the other best man. There's two kind of.
You have
I don't know.
you have two best men.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's really Nick is like the best man, but Rich is like also he's ordained and gonna marry us. So
That's
that's
cool.
like kind of like being a best man.
Nice.
So
Yeah. Okay. So back to track day club racer
yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
whatever
Sorry,
stuff.
keep getting
Yeah.
sidetracked here.
Okay. So you work for this other track day company,
I
not
do,
track days, but yeah, Apex Assassins.
sure do.
And what is it exactly that you do for them?
So
And I'm gonna wait just a second because you've seen the meme that I made years ago, right?
yeah, oh, yeah,
About
I know the
I
the
don't say it. I don't
control
give a shit.
rider.
C- Uh, control writers are douchebags,
Yep, that's
right?
correct.
And
So
that comes from that control writers are douchebags thing. For those that don't realize it, it came from the attitude that came out of the mouths of people saying it.
yep,
Right? They're like, "Oh, I'm a control
I'm
writer,"
a
and
control
it's like, dude,
rider.
you're a
Get out of my
douche,
way.
right?
Yeah, look at my jersey. Listen to
Yeah.
me.
And dude, I posted up that meme years ago, and Bill
Yep.
Russell was like, dude, that shit's funny, but
Yeah.
bro, are you ready for the heat? I'm like, I don't give a shit about the heat. It's
Yeah.
me. And that's something I'm kind of working on personally, but it's not, it's just me, right? So,
Yeah, you can
um,
only be yourself, you know?
yeah. So, I mean, even now, like, I don't call my staff dudes on the track control writers because that's
Yeah.
ugh, just a name, control writers. I hate it.
Yep. So
Um,
we actually are just staff writers is what.
Staff dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just the staff guys. And
Yeah.
we don't I don't like to control anybody's time at the track ever. Like I don't even like if they need help, I'll give them a little tip here and there, but really like we're just there to make sure people aren't like apexing
Dumbasses.
the last corner and then exiting the track without their hand up and cutting someone off, causing an accident, which is I feel like the most um, of the errors that we fix is just
Or
track
the
entry or
first
exit.
corner. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Entry exit
So,
stuff is key.
yep,
You know what? I think our guys and you guys kind of have a rep for this too is just trying to make sure everybody's having a good time. Like
exactly.
the thing that the people that meme was made for were people that get in the way of having a good time. It's like they forgot that it's
Yep.
supposed to be fun,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes people get that power trip, like, oh, I have a jersey, and so now I got to tell
Yes.
people what to do. But
Yes.
like nobody wants to be talked at, at a
Right.
track day. They spend all this money to be out there, and now you're going to make them feel like scared to get back out there to make another mistake.
Right.
So it really you just want to be like, hey, dude, you rode really good. I just want to make sure you're doing it safely. I want you to just put your hand up a little bit earlier and stay to the right instead of
Yeah.
riding and then pulling off last second. So
Yeah, because if you make a correction on somebody like that, they'll remember to not do that again.
yeah,
But if you make a correction with them by yelling at them and screaming at them and throwing walkie-talkies and shit at them,
yep,
that's what they're going to remember. They're not going to remember what they did to fuck up. They're going to remember
exactly.
that crazy person went ballistic on them, right?
Yep, yep,
So, like, I mean, back in the day, like we were at an event at Willow Springs at this other guy's track day company, and the guy's name was Tom Serra,
hmm
the OG owner of Fast Track Riders.
hmm
So there was a guy on track that had blown the checkered flag, and he just missed it. He was probably behind somebody and didn't see
yeah,
it.
yep, happens
Dude, there was an emergency riders meeting called, and
because of that.
yeah, and every rider was brought around the like winter circle area at Willow,
Yep,
and he's like, now you get to watch this guy getting thrown out, right? And so he's yelling at this guy in front of
jeez,
everybody, right? Throws
yeah,
his walkie-talkie down, it explodes into a million pieces, and we're all like, what the fuck just
yeah,
happened, right? And that kind of stuck with me, Like
yeah.
I mean
You
that
don't
that
want to be that guy.
yeah, dude, you don't want to be that guy, man. You want people to have a good time.
Yeah, you want people to remember you for being nice.
Yeah, dude. So,
I
um,
my first track day that I ever went to was with Sport Bike Track Time at
okay,
Barber.
okay,
And they do this really cool thing where if you run the checkered flag, I can't remember if it's 25 or $50, but it's a fine, but they donate it all to the Wounded Warriors Project. So it's like, all right, you ran the checkered, you owe 25 bucks, we're going to donate it all to Wounded Warriors. But like, so it's like, okay, you screwed up and you really don't want to pay any more money, but all right, here's $25. At least it goes to a good cause, you know,
Yeah. I mean, we get that occasionally. I think the biggest thing, like you said, was getting on and off the track.
for sure.
So I guess you kind of recently, last maybe couple of years, you started coaching too, right?
Yeah. So actually, it's the beginning of this year.
Oh, was
So,
it? Okay.
yeah, I started my own coaching business. So I do one-on-one coaching with riders, and I really like seeing the progression. Like I started out giving my friends advice, like just
Yeah.
kind of what I learned. And I've had coaching from Pridmore and um, coaching from Hayes, like Dale Kiefer's given me tons of advice. I always talk to him at the track, and it's just something I really enjoy seeing the progression of other people. Like it's hard to get, or it's easy to get wrapped up in your own progression and like stuck in the
Right.
mud, I guess. But like looking at someone else's progression and their story, you can see the progression like from day one you started working with them to now.
Hmm.
And I worked with my buddy Matt, who he was like in the 205s, couldn't break it at all. Now he's in like the 54s on a twin, so he's going pretty
Yeah.
good, man. So like I I got asked on a podcast like what's it going to be like if one of your trainees or one of your people you're coaching like surpasses you, and I'm like, man, that would be insane. It'd be like one of the biggest ego checks ever, but
Yeah.
just awesome. It would be so cool. Like, hey, I started that. I started the learning curve for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I totally feel you, man. Like been doing this a long time, so it's for me watching a guy like you. Dude, I remember you in New Racer, right?
yep, I know.
So like to watch you, and now you're coaching people, and I'm like, shit, man. Like, you know, well, say what you will, but I'm like, dude, we touched that guy, and now look
Yep,
at him. And it's also like trying to instill ways to make the sport kind of sustainable, so you stay.
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
you see it. You talked about it early on in the podcast, right? Like so many people quit the sport for
yep,
various reasons, right? Most of the time, it's two things. It's either they crash their way out of the sport, or they run out of money out of the sport.
yep.
One of those
And
two.
crashing is
Sometimes
a way
both.
to run out of money.
Right. I mean,
So,
look, I mentioned the guy earlier, right? Cole Fugatti. Like that dude was
yep,
good, and then he had one big crash, and that was it. He's out.
yeah, yep.
So,
I was actually
mind
in
you,
that race.
mind you, he did have a pretty nasty head injury too.
He did.
So,
Yep.
and we've all kind of gone through that, right? I mean, Team CTE right here, right?
Yeah, I
You
know.
too,
I
right?
can't say that because of my job. I
Oh
didn't have a
wait,
yeah.
no, no, no. Yeah,
I did not do that, but yeah,
yeah,
no. It's it does suck and it's part of it. Like, you know,
yeah,
it's a dangerous sport. So,
yeah. I mean,
what
look, we used to say it was like 2 to 3 years, and it's like
yep,
their first year is track day guy, second year is amateur guy, third year
yep.
is expert guy, and then that's it.
Then they bounce.
And but that's not factoring in nowadays. Like people get so many races as an amateur.
Yep,
Sometimes it's like track day guy, amateur season out. You
yep.
know. So
And
we're
a lot
trying
of
to.
people it's like I'm not saying sandbag, but a lot of people are intimidated by like, oh, now I have to go race for 20th,
Yeah,
you
now I have
know?
to go race against Aussie Dave or Bryce Prince
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
you know, um,
We were all there,
right?
like
Yeah,
you don't get
I
to this
liked it.
point by yeah, you just get I mean,
Yeah,
it is frustrating, don't get me wrong, like especially when you start getting a little faster and you're like, okay, I'm like within touching distance
yeah.
now,
I can
like
see
and
them
you
now.
can't
I
close.
could
Yeah,
see them most
exactly.
of a lap.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. And then they're gone, but it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah. I
whatever.
mean, I can remember. I guess my best year at Chuckwalla, right? Like
Hmm.
I could hang with Andrew Lee for a little bit, and
Yep.
man, I learned so much just from being at pace, watching that dude. Racecraft got up, and then had some epic battles with that full send,
Yep.
Alex.
Oh, Alex Fuller.
Yeah, I mean, we had some epic scraps because of that, and
Yep.
it was like, dude, when it was happening, and maybe this is the same for you, but like when you're going the best that you've ever seen, it's like you would think that you were slow, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
that's I can't it's the weirdest thing. People are like, "Oh man, what does it feel like to go that fast?" And I'm like, "Dude, I thought I was doing like 52s, you know?" And then
Yeah.
you're like, look at the lap timer and you're like 47. You know, like that's pretty legit. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
So
you're just in
do
a
you
good flow.
at the track day do you help out in tech stuff too? Like
Yeah, so we pretty much the whole team starts out the day. We start in tech, and then we kind of move into our own jobs, you know, throughout the day. Like whether that's to do kitty herder laps is what we call it. It's kitty herding. So
kitty herding.
yeah, like to do your little sighting laps. So like
Yeah.
two
Kitty
laps
herding.
on. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean that's cool.
um, but yeah, I do tech. Rainey does tech and CVMA for like the actual
Oh,
tech
really?
inspection.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's probably helps to put a dent in the race weekend budget.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Now
And
that
luckily, we
both of
still
you
have
guys,
separate budgets, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, good luck with that.
she's sponsored now. She's got
Oh,
a fresh
oh,
face racing. Yeah,
oh.
she's
Okay,
killing it, dude.
okay.
Unfortunate luck this year with two blown engines and a crash, but um, yeah, dude, she's going fast,
That's
man.
you know, I don't know the specifics of her engine drama, but
Hmm.
a lot of racers. Chiquetto and I last week were talking about this,
Yep.
and a lot of racers will save their money up front with whatever it is they're building, but then that savings up front costs them three times as much on the backside through
Oh, for
failures.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not shitting on Rainey, but when you have two engine failures in a year, like maybe start asking questions. Like,
So I'm
if you're
not
an
even
engine
gonna
building
say who
guy,
built. I'm not even gonna say who built them, because it actually is somebody reputable. I think just bad luck with some parts. So
parts
I th
fail, dude.
yeah, and it's unfortunate she had a like a I don't know if it was a filter or something that went bad, so it just wasn't getting enough fuel, and then
Dude, I've seen guys blow an engine because of a bad fuel pump.
yeah, that's
You know,
pretty
their
much what
fuel pump
happened.
all of a
You
sudden
know.
takes a shit, and then bye
It's
bye,
and it
right?
sucks, like, that's not something you think about, like, bike's working fine, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden, like, you build the engine, like, it's fresh motor,
yeah,
and then it doesn't get enough fuel, and that's what happens, you know,
yep,
so very
yep.
unfortunate, but, then she had a TPS wire that, like, was not like, I think it was exposed, but anyway, it basically sent her off at full throttle. So, she
Yeah, I
grabbed the
mean, look,
clutch and then high-sided, so
last year at Thunder Hill, I had an electronic issue that ended up getting like my bike shut off. Like
oh,
my
yeah.
bike shut off entering turn two at Thunder Hill, and I got smashed from behind.
Oh,
Like,
is that what happened?
yeah,
And the other dude was asleep, right? I remember that.
yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. He got a helicopter ride and everything. It
Yep,
was
I remember
bummer he doesn't remember the helicopter ride, right?
that.
I mean, that's
You
kind of
spend
neat.
so much money, you think
I mean, yeah,
stuff's
right? I mean, that's way more expensive than like the Hawaii ones. You
yeah,
don't spend
exactly.
50 grand on a Hawaii one.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what happened. Like I entered the corner and my electronics shut off, then my bike shut off, and I was like, what the fuck? And I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
there's
scary.
nowhere to go, dude. Like smash, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think
sometimes shit happens,
it
you
does.
know?
Yeah, I read one of the comments earlier. I think it was Danny that said, "Have you ever blown a tranny on your Cowie?" And I have actually. It blew up coming out of the slide or going into the slide.
And that's
So,
that's where I usually go. Speaking of blowing trannies, Gil,
yeah,
how's it
I
going?
know. Have you guys speaking of blowing trannies, have you guys been to the Zebra?
Wow.
I know.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Okay. All right. All right. Move
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm gonna like we're at like an hour and a half ish
Oh yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So,
It's
all
already
right.
8.
So
Holy.
I'm gonna try to wrap this up, but
Yeah. Yeah.
let's wrap this up with what's the weirdest thing that you've seen at a track day?
Weirdest.
Yep. Both
Um,
on or off track.
I'm gonna say someone who's in expert group go the wrong way down pit lane. So
Yeah,
like
that's pretty weird.
they're in the fast group and they're like all right, I'm heading on the track, and like everyone's pointing to go this way, and they turned right. And you're like, oh, so yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty weird. I mean, without a lot of time to think, I think that's off the
How
top
about
of
in
my
a
head.
race? Like, what's the weirdest thing you've seen a competitor do in a race? I can give you one as an
Mm,
idea. Like,
what is it?
I was in a race at Willow Springs one time, and there was a guy. He's pretty quick, and I'm passing him. I'm trying to pass him on the outside of turn 9,
Hmm.
and right at the apex of turn 9, this dude like throws his leg up and whoosh, right across the front wheel
Oh,
to exit the track.
yep, that happened to a buddy of mine.
So now that you've heard that,
Let's see. I mean, I've seen all kinds of dumb shit, you know.
yeah,
Like
I've got a
I've
tire
seen.
mark on a set of leathers back there from your buddy Bill.
Oh,
Like I slowed
okay.
down for a little bit to like wait for somebody, and Bill just smashed me.
So you know Zoomer, right?
Oh, I know Zoomer.
So old man
Oh shit,
Zoomer.
here we go.
Yeah.
The
So
Zoomer stories. Let me roll my sleeves
it's
up real
I
quick.
know. So I would say they're both my fault because I was behind, but he is blind in his left eye. I think it's his left.
Yes, I think
So
so.
he enters the left-handers a little slower, but I didn't know this at the time. So like had a not a good run on him, but like I was coming up behind him relatively quickly, and he
Yeah,
just throws on the air brakes, and I full stoppied into the side of him. It I hit him so hard that my clip-on folded like to my tank,
like a 10
and
speed.
yeah, exactly. My lever guard was pointed up like a middle finger. My rear brake lever folded around my foot peg.
Oh
So
wow.
so I hit the clip on out after I already smoked Zoomer. Like we both go off the track. We both stayed up. Like Anthony has it on video. I have it on my Instagram. It's like pretty gnarly video. But I was like, all right, I'm gonna get back out there. So I hit the clip on back out. I put the lever guard back into a spot, and I go to get back on track. And since my rear brake was folded over my foot peg, I didn't know this at the time. I put my foot like on my foot peg, like I was getting ready to go, and I went to stand up to look behind me to make sure I wasn't gonna merge into anybody, and it locked the rear brake up and almost high sided me in the dirt. And I was like, okay, well,
Okay.
I'm an idiot. Yeah, so
That's pretty weird.
it is an odd thing, and Zoomer's the only person that I've legitimately punted off the track twice. So,
Yeah,
and
I've
both
never punted
left-handers.
him. I have my own Zoomer experiences as well.
Hmm.
Zoomer, I would always just like whenever if I was behind him, I would just late break him, and then basically park the thing on the inside, and
Yeah,
so he couldn't turn.
yep, yeah. But then he's got to turn his whole head to
Especially if
see
it's
you.
going to the right, because it totally
Yeah,
fucks his depth
oh, dude,
perception up, dude.
it's so bad. I feel bad. He's actually really fast, which is
Dude, he's quick and he's fun.
yeah, he's fun to
You
race with
know?
for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely my bad, and I mean, I have a ton more stories like that, like where I've been run into the back of.
The Legion vlog says he has the vid and he's been making money off of it on the side.
I think that's Coop.
Is
Yeah,
that Coop? Yeah.
I think so.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yep. He
Yeah, way to go, Coop. Way to make
I
money
know.
off of
Hey
this
man,
buddies, off our buddies. Yeah.
I'll take my
Yeah.
royalties.
Nice work, dude. Nice work. Where's that video? Maybe I can make some money off it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I should put it in the chat.
Oh man. All right, dude. Well, you know what? It's been a good time tonight,
Yeah,
Ty.
man.
Hope everybody enjoyed it. Looked like everybody was kind of tuned in and commenting the whole time. So,
Yeah, it was
dude,
fun.
thanks for the chat, bud. And you're the first club racer that I've talked to, and first of hopefully many. I'm gonna try to, with this, I'm gonna try to talk to a bunch of club racers this year, and it's not just from our local clubs. I'm gonna start out with our local people, but maybe I'll get Anthony at some point, right?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah, he
fun.
needs it.
But you know, my goal is to like try to get people hyped on club racing, man, because it is so much fun.
Dude, it's a blast. Like, I mean, honestly, it's weird to say this, but you like kind of build your life around it. Like all your days off are club racing, all your
Dude,
like
it's not
taking
weird to say.
overtime shifts. Yeah, I mean,
It's weird to normies,
dude, I don't know what the hell I would do like if I didn't race motorcycles. I have no idea.
dude.
I'd be the
I
most
could tell
boring
you
person
exactly
ever.
what I would do. I would sit on the couch eating Cheetos,
Yeah. Yeah.
right, and be
Exactly.
like 400 pounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh So I
watching
was
Oprah
reading.
naked, right?
I was reading the comments, and Rich said, "Can I get a oh yeah?" So, oh yeah.
Oh God damn it! He asked me to ask you that, and I forgot.
Oh no, I got him.
All right. Well,
Cool,
with
man.
that, gotta go.
Yeah, I
Good
know.
times, Ty.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for
Yeah,
having
dude.
me. Later,
Yeah.
man.